Welcome back to Fireside Yankees, my friends. Yesterday, another big win against the Cleveland Guardians, 6-0. Garrett Cole looked phenomenal. At the end of the day, this Yankee team starting to heat up a little bit. Beating a really solid Cleveland team does prove to us that they can beat quality opponents. And when the postseason rolls around, those are the types of teams you're going to have to take down. Cleveland really didn't show much fight, and the Yankees showed plenty of it. Juan Soto, Aaron Judge continue to mash. But I want to talk about two guys here, Ryan, and Gleyber Torres. He's been a lot better lately offensively. I want to talk about his numbers in August. He's been so much more productive and efficient. Want to give him some love in his flowers. And then obviously the return of Anthony Rizzo, who has a rehab game starting tonight in Double-A with Somerset, along with some other guys. So, Yankees preparing for some reinforcements in early September. They reinstated Jazz Chisholm on Friday afternoon, so we're really positive about that. He'll be back on the lineup probably tonight. But looking at Gleyber's performance, the return of Rizzo, what the Yankees should do at first base. Listen, the Yankees don't have that many good options at first base. Ben Rice, he's young, he's solid, but the thing is, I don't know if I trust him in the playoffs. And then, of course, DJ LeMahieu is just a liability. And then, of course, you have Rizzo who's returning, and he wasn't good before the injury. In fact, he was pretty bad. He had an 80 WRC plus. Rice is at 83, and it's been kind of reducing and going down for a couple months now. What are your thoughts on that? But obviously, we'll first and foremost start on Gleyber Torres, start on something positive, because I think he's definitely earned it. Torres' production at leadoff overall hasn't been great, but over the last month, been pretty good. I've been pretty impressed with him, so he's quietly been making a nice positive impact here. Ryan, how are you feeling about him?
So I think the gripe with him is, he's not hitting for power still, which is concerning because that was his calling card last year. He had 25 home runs, and he was having a really good year. Defensively, there's still a lot of question marks. Not even just a lot of question marks. I think he's like the worst defensive second baseman according to defensive runs saved. But yeah, he had some really good at-bats. Actually, like yesterday, he was having some of the best PAs, not at-bats, because they're walks, and if it's a walk, it's not an at-bat, it's a plate appearance, blah, blah, blah. But you get my point. He was having some really good trips to the plate. That's what I'll say. And overall, look, I will say this. There is a gap, I think, when people kind of lump in, Gleyber with LeMahieu and Verdugo, I kind of stay away from that argument. I think that Gleyber has done more than those two guys as of late. And I know baseball is about, the whole, a holistic view, but Alex Verdugo's an 80 WRC plus. That guy stinks. That guy's been really bad lately. And I'm not trying to dog on him unnecessarily right now. I'm just trying to use him as a comparison point here. He's been trending down for the last 2 months. He hasn't hit a home run since July 6th. I know Gleyber Torres, again, has not hit for much power, but Gleyber Torres, as you mentioned, he's looked solid at the leadoff spot. He's been able to get on base and do a job. A 429 on base percentage since moving to the leadoff spot in that Detroit series, I'll take it, right? You just need a guy to get on for Soto and Judge, and if he can just keep creeping up in terms of OBP, if you look at his last since July 23rd, excuse me, since July 12th, he has a 364 OBP with a 112 WRC plus, not really hitting for much power. Again, that's not great, but I saw a point on this, and I thought it actually made some sense. You kind of just need Gleyber Torres to get on base, right? You have two guys in Soto and Judge who are going to combine for 100 home runs this season in all likelihood. Aaron Judge is having one of the greatest seasons we've seen ever. He's actually having the greatest season by any right-handed hitter in the history of the sport. Juan Soto's having a great year. It's crazy that Juan Soto's year looks so unimpressive compared to Aaron Judge's, because Juan Soto's legitimately an MVP candidate if, again, Judge wasn't doing what he was doing. And then you just kind of look at the rest of this lineup. Look, you get a guy like Jazz Chisholm involved. The way that Stanton's covering that outside slider, it's not a liability to throw that. If you're a pitcher and you want to throw that outside slider on the zone to Stanton, I think he'll chase the slider away. We still see that. But if you throw it and it's in the zone, Stan can drive that ball. Dude, Stan hit a ball yesterday at center field. I never thought in my life I would ever see Giancarlo Stanton hit a baseball like that again. Wells, I know the results of the last couple of games haven't been there, but he's still hitting the ball really hard, and that's what matters to me. Jazz has been really strong. I wonder if they try Jazz at the leadoff spot. Jasson Dominguez has been really swinging the bat well in AAA, and I want to put this out here too. Jasson Dominguez, when he's red hot, it's not 7 or 8 home runs in a row. It's the guy's hitting 400, 500. He's right, it's just single after single and doubles and home runs. It's just
hard hit balls too.
Right, 2 balls yesterday, 108 miles an hour. Mm-hmm. The arm looks healthy. Threw a runner out from center field. We posted that I think on
that was a nice one too.
Wednesday. Yeah, it was a good throw. It wasn't one of those where it was a routine play either. It was an impressive toss. Yeah, exactly. And you just kind of look at how this team could be if you start assembling this roster. You start interchanging the right pieces. You get a guy maybe like John Birdie, if Gleyber slumps, to get him involved. Maybe he hits against lefties, Gleyber hits against righties.
Man. Solid.
Yeah, pinch hitter, pinch runner, whatever you want to call it, whatever you want to do there. Soto and Judge obviously are the anchors of this lineup. It's just at first base, and I guess this can help us transition to Rizzo here. That's the real question for this team. They don't have a first baseman. I know some people have mentioned TJ Rumfield in AAA, but like Ben Rice is out hitting TJ Rumfield, and Ben Rice is struggling in the major leagues. Like Rumfield is he's a good defensive first baseman, but he does not really have much power to speak of. I fear that it's not really much of an upgrade over a guy like Anthony Rizzo. And I don't really sit here and call myself an Anthony Rizzo defender. The guy was objectively really bad when he was here, and I don't think there's much to project well for him. But hey, you just kind of hope and pray that Rizzo finds something in this last stretch here, because Alex, again, first base, it has been abysmal for the Yankees this year.
It's, abysmal might be a kind way of putting it. Now, the question is, if you're Aaron Boone, what's the right decision? And I don't necessarily think that there is a right decision just yet, because Rizzo, coming back through AA, we got to see how he's hitting. All I'm asking for is league average performance, right? Now you reflect on the trade deadline, like maybe we would have preferred to go out and get a guy like Yandy Diaz, who, 112 WRC plus. We would have loved to have that right about now at first base. And, Ryan, I'll say this. If we reflect back on the deadline in a couple, after the playoffs come to an end, if the Yankees don't win it, we're going to think about those moments and those decisions and say to ourselves, was that acquisition the difference between winning and losing some of those big games? And oftentimes it is. Rizzo needs to come back and perform. There is no other option. I think that Ben Rice, they don't trust him in the playoffs. They know Rizzo's won a chip already. He's 35 years old. I mean, he's gone after this season. This is his last hurrah. This is the last dance for Anthony Rizzo. So if there was ever a time to come back, show what you can do, turn back the clock, offer production, it's right freaking now. And he's got that opportunity. September, I mean, I imagine he'll probably get a week here in rehab, and then he'll be reinstated to the Yankees major league roster. And when that time comes, Ryan, it's do or die. It's you go with the hot hands going into the playoffs. Now, I don't think that's going to be DJ LeMahieu. Ben Rice could get hot, but Rizzo's got to be the guy. He's the one that can capitalize on that short right porch at Yankee Stadium. He's the one that can shorten that bat and make good swing decisions on with two strikes and guys on base. This is somebody who needs to produce and be the player we've always known him to be. Since that concussion last year, he's been a shell of himself, and I think that maybe it's confidence, maybe it's time he needed. Who knows? He's had plenty of time to rehabilitate, get his mind right. The Yankees are in a position to win this division. They got to take off, and he's got to come in, with the utmost confidence and show that leadership and veteran experience off. Do I have a lot of faith in Anthony Rizzo? Not necessarily. Do I think he's our best option right now? Probably. If you had to make that decision right now, Ryan, do you think he's our best option, considering the fact that he has all this experience in the playoffs and whatnot? He's defensively, he's average. That's all we really need. I think you kind of have to go with him because he's unknown right now. We know what Rice is. We know what DJ LeMahieu is, and I just don't think it's enough when the playoffs roll around.
I'm going to throw out a crazy idea. Do you just try as well to Cabrera at first base, right?
I thought about that. I thought about it.
I mean, I'm not saying it's a good idea. I'm not saying it's the best. Is it the best idea? I mean, the guy's probably the better hitter between him and Rizzo at this point. Well. Dude, there's no good option. There's no one I feel good with at first. It's so frustrating, too, because first base is the position you want to get offense from. I will say, I would rather bet on Ben Rice than Anthony Rizzo because Ben Rice still barrels the ball a ton. I think he makes good swing decisions. Maybe he just needs to make a small adjustment, kind of like how Wells did, and then it'll get going for him. I think it is kind of stupid that they let LeMahieu cut into his playing time as much as they did because there was, I think, a chance. There is still realistically a chance that Ben Rice finds something. I guess in the same vein, there is the same chance Rizzo finds something, but he doesn't have any positive underlying metrics. It's frustrating. It's so frustrating to talk about LeMahieu and see the amount of playing time he got when he was slumping. It is kind of frustrating. But you can't really do anything about it now. I think if Yandy Diaz got traded and it wasn't to the Yankees, this would be a more kind of negative segment of the podcast. But was there I guess Josh Bell was moved. Josh Bell. I guess Dom Smith was a free agent, but it's Dom Smith. Are we really, it's Dom Smith, guys. Are we really going to sit here and start, ripping Cashman to shreds for not signing Dom Smith, who's a left-handed hitter, not even a right-handed hitter, so it's not like you're getting the advantage against left-handed pitching. It's first base, right? I guess you can pin it on their lack of landing a first baseman in the offseason, but they had Rizzo under contract. He was clearly going to get playing time. they're just in a weird spot, man. Like, maybe if Rizzo comes back and starts pulling everything in the air again, we could get something going for him and, maybe find something in the power department, but they're in a tough spot. There's nothing good that's going to happen at first base moving forward. Like, that's reality. Or you can't expect it. If Rice starts straightening it out and starts handling velo better, hey, maybe it does happen. If, Oswaldo Cabrera plays first base and he gets hot, hey, maybe something could happen. But as of right now, first base is that's the position where you stink. You're just going to be bad there, and I'm not sure where it's going to happen at all.
Yeah, I mean, right now, in my opinion, it really comes down to one thing, and it's who's playing the best baseball when the playoffs roll around, right? Is Ben Rice getting hot? Is Rizzo hot? Is DJ LeMahieu showing signs of life? Probably not, based on the larger sample here, but I think that Rizzo deserves a chance. I'll say that. I think that, look, they've been rotating first base so much, they need to give Rizzo a chance to reclaim that job. And I think that he's earned the right to get that opportunity. I think that they're going to give him that opportunity because, look, if they don't, obviously you're facing a much more difficult problem here in that you're not exhausting all your options. And Ryan, using that same logic, and if the Yankees are willing, and I'll present this to you, and I think this is a pretty good argument, if the Yankees are willing to give Anthony Rizzo the benefit of the doubt and give him the chance to win that starting job at first base again, reclaim that starting job, why is it that they're not going to give that same opportunity to Jasson Dominguez in left field? You know what I mean? If they're going to go out and find a bad performing position in first base and inject a new piece into that equation, but they won't do it with Jasson Dominguez, it doesn't make much sense to me. And then, you heard, obviously, Alex Verdugo's quotes from yesterday and Boone's quotes, and they're fighting, they're grinding, it's the worst they've ever been, he's not injured, he's just struggling, he's not making contact on the pitch. It's just his confidence is shot, he's moping around. It might not happen again this year. Like, look, he could get hot and turn things around, and the Yankees are going to give him every second possible until that service time manipulation date goes in early September. But at this rate, Ryan, are you fully on board for Jasson to get called up and play in left field on an everyday basis? I guess I'll ask you, when would you want that to happen? Maybe you want it right now, but is it time? Do you think it's time, like he needs a full month of action in MLB? Or is it like you want to let him wait, build some more momentum in AAA and then call him up at some point? Like, how do you view this position going into the playoffs?
Alex Verdugo is an 80 WRC plus. Like, the guy shouldn't start. The guy shouldn't start. The guy shouldn't start over Trent Grisham. The guy shouldn't start. I'd rather have Cabrera in left field than him. Like, he's objectively bad. And this loyalty to Verdugo, like, to manipulate service time for Dominguez, like, I just want to put this out here. We don't know if Jasson Dominguez is going to be a superstar. Like, is that 6th or 7th year going to be that valuable? Like, we don't know that. We don't know what the projected value or the positive are they going to get positive expected value from that 6th or 7th year? We don't know. What I do know is that Jasson Dominguez is probably a better player than Alex Verdugo is right now, at least offensively at the plate. And I need that in my lineup right now because I need this team, my team, the New York Yankees, to win this AL East. The Yankees they have a very fortuitous schedule coming up. They're going to be playing the Rockies this weekend, and the Rockies away from Colorado haven't been great. They're playing the Nationals. They're going to play the Nationals. The Nationals aren't horrific. They're not, like, generationally bad, but they're firmly below 500. You should take care of business there. They have some guys. They have some studs. They have some names, notably James Wood, Luis Garcia, those two guys, CJ Abrams. Those guys are forming a nice nucleus there, but you got to go beat them. I need Jasson Dominguez, right? The Oilers are playing Houston. Houston's red hot. We caught Houston when we caught Houston. We were giving them fits. We were beating the crap out of them. We were bashing their brains in.
We're going to see them in the playoffs, probably.
We'll 100% see them in October. Those guys are. That's gonna be a battle. I'd argue I'd rather see Baltimore than Houston in the playoffs.
Oh, I would agree. Houston, when they get hot, they're unstoppable.
Houston's done it before. Houston, they have more good starters. I mean,
they just know what it takes.
Yeah, Eflin's hurt right now. Like, I don't until Eflin comes back.
Burns got rocked yesterday.
Burns isn't infallible, right? We haven't seen Burns this year, which I guess maybe that doesn't work to our advantage. But Burns isn't infallible. If you look at his strikeout rates, they're dropping. Their strikeout rate.
They just caught Trevor Rogers.
Dude, yeah, they sent him down.
Oh,
Yeah, he's not
they
good.
sent him down, yeah.
Yeah, I want to point this out when it comes to Corbin Burns. Like, Corbin Burns' strikeout rate's 22.5%, folks. He gets ground balls. He limits damage contact, but it's not like his home run rate is the lowest in the league. It's 1.02. You can put a charge into one of his cutters. He's a good pitcher. Don't get me wrong. He's objectively a good pitcher. His season is not too dissimilar from a guy like Luis Seals, is kind of my point. I'm not trying to say that he's the same caliber of pitcher as Luis Seals.
He can be
Corbin
erratic.
Burns is better any day of the week, but just kind of that point of, like, it's not like this guy's infallible, right? And if you
He's
can
not like
put
Garrett Cole
both,
right now.
yeah, he's not on the Garrett Cole run right now. And I want to put, and I'm putting this, I'm prefacing all of this by saying, you don't want to be in that wild card 1, wild card 2, wild card 3 situation. You want to be the team that gets the bye. I know people are going to say, look at what the Braves did last year. Look at how the Dodgers looked last year. Look at the Orioles looked last year. Look at how the Astros looked in 22. They got the bye. They were the 1 seed, and they kicked everybody's ass. That's what good teams do. That's what, the reason the
Those
Dodgers...
extra couple days are really important, especially with guys like Cole and like that 3-man rotation. That rest is imperative.
Exactly. And on top of that, the reason the Dodgers didn't get past the Diamondbacks is not because they had rest or whatever it may be. Lance Lynn pitched Game 3. Lance Lynn pitched Game 3 of a playoff series, a do or die, send the guy home kind of game. That's why they lost, folks. That is why they lost. That is why they got sent home. The Atlanta Braves, I think they just choked. I think the Braves just choked, and they've done that 2 years in a row. How about Baltimore? They were throwing Dean Kramer Game 3, man. Of course they got sent home. Of course those dudes got packed up. They sent garbage out in Game 3. And I know some smart ass is gonna comment, we're sending out Nestor Cortez in Game 3. We might send out Clark Schmidt in Game 3. We might send out Luis Heel in Game 3. And I'll say this too. The way that Nestor's trending, the way that Rodon, I know that Detroit start was awful, but the way he's been trending as a whole, the way Stroman's been trending, I'll take those guys over Dean Kramer. I'll take that guy over Lance Lynn. Are you kidding me? Lance Lynn stinks, folks. Lance Lynn is 37 years old. That man's washed. The Yankees, if you're a good team, the bye is not affecting you. If you're a good team, the bye is just giving you some rest. It's just getting Judge some time to get all amped up. It's giving Soto some time to make sure the hand's right. It's giving Holmes and Weaver and Canley and all these bullpen arms some time to just get some time off, to get some fatigue off the shoulder or the elbow, wherever it may be. That's what good teams use the break to do. So I don't want to hear that nonsense. What I don't want to do is be stuck in a 3-game series where let's say I'm wild card 2. I'm playing wild card 3. Let's say wild card 3 is this Kansas City Royals. Now, the Kansas City Royals are not the Houston Astros. They're not the Baltimore Orioles. They're not the Los Angeles Dodgers. They're not the Philadelphia Phillies. But as you mentioned, they are dangerous. Cole Reagan's lefty, if it wasn't for Tariq Skubal being as good as he was, he'd be in the Cy Young conversation. You can't hit lefties. You don't want to face him. You're going to face in Game 2 Seth Lugo. Seth Lugo's also a guy who's probably going to finish top 3 in the Cy Young race. You don't want to face him in Game 2. Then in Game 3, you get a Michael Wacha, or you get a guy like a Brady Singer who's got a sub-3 ERA. Right, and their bullpen, they added Lucas Urquhart. He's been awesome. You don't want to face You don't want a situation where Bobby Witt Jr.'s coming up, bases loaded. You got to play that guy, the dude who's on Aaron Judge's tail for the AL MVP, the guy who's somehow half a win within Aaron Judge, despite Aaron Judge doing all the great things he's been doing this year and being a generational transcendent talent. You don't want to do that, right? What you want to do is be at home watching those guys, watching Baltimore try to handle that. And another thing too, if you are the 1 seed if you were the 1 seed and Houston's the 2 seed, you do not have to play Houston until the ALCS, assuming Houston gets there. Yes, you'll have to play. I think you'd have to play the winner of like a Baltimore Kansas City series, but get me Baltimore when they can't throw out Corbin Burns in Game 1. Get me Kansas City when they can't throw out Cole Reagans in Game 1, and their bullpens are used up, and they're a little battered and bruised. Let me catch that team then. That's when you want to catch them, because then you can get a chance. You go to the LCS, if it's you in Houston, you got to get past them. All bets are off. It's not like the Astros are considerably better than the Yankees. I'd argue the Yankees are the better team right now. So my point more so is, the Yankees need to prioritize winning right now and winning this goddamn division, because if you do not win this division, your ass could be sent home in the wild card round. Jasson Dominguez gives you the best chance to win these baseball games. Service time be damned. Minor league years be damned. Extra year of control be damned. If this team wins the World Series, Jasson Dominguez's acquisition as an international free agent is a roaring success. Aaron Judge, already a roaring success, but you get my point. He's going into the Hall of Fame first ballot. Anthony Volpe, no one would say anything about Anthony Volpe if he was the starting shortstop of a World Series winning Yankees team. This team, Brian Cashman, Aaron Boone, everything that they have done over the last 7 to 8 years would immediately be vindicated with a World Series. They said it's World Series or bust. They say it. Every year, Aaron Judge says it's a failure if we don't win the World Series. Brian Cashman says the same thing. Hal Steinbrenner says the same thing. It's a chain of command saying the exact same thing, Alex. So what does that mean to me? Winning today matters more than winning tomorrow. And that means Jasson Dominguez needs to be here today and not tomorrow, not the week after, not a month later, today, August 23rd. And until he's up, they're failing that statement. I'm sorry, they're lying to the public about that statement unless Jasson Dominguez is up. Because Alex Verdugo isn't just bad right now, Alex. He's abysmal. He's unplayable. His 80 WRC plus is only 7 points higher than Josh Donaldson's in 2023. 2023, Josh Donaldson was kicked to the curb on a team that was a 500 team. This team is trying to win the World Series. What spot does Alex Verdugo earn on this team? Not a spot on my ball club. Not on my ball club. Sorry for the long rant, but not on my ball club, folks. He's not
legendary.
On my ball club.
We needed that. We needed that energy. I'm sure everyone's gonna be right to the comments section enjoying that one. But no, look, like you said, it's World Series or bust. And Alex Verdugo may not be playing a part in that role, in that equation right now. Jasson Dominguez gives you the best chance to provide power, provide anything really offensively, and that's what we're hoping for. And if Rizzo can bounce back and offer us even average offensive production, we would be over the moon. We'd be ecstatic, because that's way better than what we're getting right now at first base. But like you said, that rest is imperative. Like, if you have to go into the wild card, burn your bullpen, burn your starters, risk the probability of injury, and when you're heightened and elevated and things are more intense, the increase of injury, it goes up quite a lot. Guys pushed themselves too far. But one thing I will say, and I think that we're going to see it, Ryan. I think we're going to see a different version of Juan Soto in the playoffs. That version that they saw from him with the Nationals many years ago when they won that chip. I think we're going to see Juan Soto lock in. Like in the beginning of the season when Juan Soto locked in like 3-2 counts, late in the game, needed a big hit, needed a big run, and he came through in a big moment. I think that's the version we're going to get from Juan Soto every single playoff game. Like, he's amazing, he's ridiculous, but he's playing calm, cool, and collective. He's just playing his game, getting through the regular season. The intense version of Juan Soto, the championship version of Juan Soto, is a guy that looks like, locked in at another level. We need to see that from Aaron Judge, too. We need to see these guys lock in, hone in, disciplined baseball. And I'm not worried about Judge and Soto, to be quite honest. Obviously, most people would agree with that. I'm worried about everybody else. I'm worried about, base running. I'm worried about the small things. I'm worried about the errors. I'm worried about contact. I'm worried about double plays. I'm worried about those small details that go into winning a chip. Two guys, they've been our offense for a very, very long time. But in a championship team, in a run to a World Series, everyone's got to contribute. It can't be two players doing all the heavy lifting. Everyone's got to be a part of it. Jazz coming back today is a big indication that, they're getting healthier. Things are, progressing. Clark Schmidt, Rizzo, Scott Efros has 6 straight outings in AAA without giving up a run. We love that. He's probably going to come back within the next week or so. I would imagine the Yankees want to get him involved late here. So, this team is about to get a slew of reinforcements. Now, the most important thing is keeping everybody healthy in September and getting the healthy pieces back and peaking at the right moment. That rest will be super important, as you said. Soto just resting his hand. Jazz resting his elbow. These guys coming back from injury, getting a little bit of time. Cole resting his elbow, making sure that fatigue is not there hurting him. Luis Gil, the lower back injury. Whoever it might be. Rodon getting a little bit of rest. And, the velo hopefully, maintaining. And Marcus Stroman, hopefully a little bit of rest will help his velo if they ask him to help out of the bullpen. Gil getting that rest just to help him get their accuracy and location back. So, right now, I think this team does have a lot going for them. But it's about maximizing the opportunities and exhausting all options. They have to exhaust the Jasson Dominguez option at some point. They have to exhaust the Rizzo option at some point. And I'm curious to see what happens with Gleyber Torres when, Jazz coming back today. Is Jazz going to lead off? Are they going to move? I think Gleyber Torres has been pretty solid over the last couple of days leading off. I don't think they changed that. I think Jazz probably slots right back in 5 or 6 hole. But if Gleyber does go through any sort of cold stretch, I wouldn't be surprised if they move Jazz up to the top of the order. There's a lot to happen, but I think it's going to be exciting to watch.
Yeah, to throw one last thing out here, this team can win a World Series, folks. Like, I don't know, like, I feel like because of kind of the slump they went through in the summer, I don't want to call them out of it yet in terms of out of that slump until they really, like, it's a click, like, they're, like, rattle off 13 of their next 20 or something like that. But this team, right, like, they can win the World Series, folks. Like, they have the highest World Series odds for any team in the American League according to Fangraphs. It's real. This is real, folks. This is probably the best chance we've had at winning the American League in a very, very, very long time, folks. This is the year. This is the year they got to get it done. I'm not saying that they're going to get it done. I'm not saying that it's bound to happen, that, start buying World Series tickets. I'm sitting here and saying that this team's got a really damn good chance to go out and do it, folks. And I feel something with this team. I got the best player on the goddamn planet on my team. I got the second best hitter on the goddamn planet on my team. I got a dog in Garrett Cole starting game 1. I can get Heel and Schmidt and the bullpen, the guys he can get back in Efros and Hamilton and Trevino. Those guys are dogs. Those guys, people talk about this bullpen. I know this bullpen right now, it's up and down, right? But they're getting 3 dogs back. Like, those guys are dogs, man. When they come out of the bullpen, they can fire some shutdown innings. Those guys are dogs. Let's see what this team's made of, right? Like, for all intents and purposes, they are winning right now a tough AL East battle. An AL East battle where they've gotten into some things have been said about both teams to each other. We saw that benches clearing situation in Baltimore, and Clay Holmes he missed and he unfortunately hit a guy in the head, and, granted, the guy's okay and everything's good there, but they're winning that battle right now. Let's see if they can get the job done. They can finish this job, win this AL East. You gotta feel where I'm at with this team right now. It's real, folks. There's a real World Series buzz about this team because nobody else really has it right now. Let's see if they're the team that has it. Let's see. I mean, they're getting Jazz back. They're not even healthy, and they're clicking a little bit. Let's see how they roll. They have who has more wins against above 500 teams? Nobody else. It's us, right? It's the New York Yankees. It's your 2024 New York Yankees. Is there a player on the planet that even comes close to Aaron Judge right now? Not a single player on planet Earth can come into the same sphere as Aaron Judge when it comes to putting balls doing damage on balls. Massive pause there. There's nobody on planet Earth. There's not a lot of pitchers in the American League that are going to pitch in the postseason that I'd rather have on the mound than Garrett Cole right now. So the way I'm looking at it, the way things are shaping up right now, if they get healthy and if guys click, this team could be special. Could you imagine if Jasson Dominguez comes up and he looks like the prospect that we know he can be, man? This lineup gets that much deeper. With the way Wells is swinging, with Stan parking, just absolute moonshots, lasers into center field. If you can get a guy like Jazz to continue to porch, I mean, that guy rocks. We know he rocks. If Gleyber can start getting on base, look, if Gleyber's a World Series leadoff man for this team, I don't care what anybody says about him for the rest of his life. That man's a legend in my eyes. That man's a hero in my eyes. Let's go write some stories. I want to write stories about these guys being heroes. I want to talk about this team in 2025 and look back on this team in 20 years and go, this team was the team. They can write their story. In Aaron Boone's words, it is right in front of these guys. Let's go do the job, fellas. Let's go do a job.
Yep, let's go do a job, my friends. Always happy to hear your thoughts down below in the YouTube comment section. Make sure to like, subscribe as always, and we'll catch you guys on the next Fireside Yankees episode.
Perfect.